Southeast Asian foreign ministers have vowed to finalize negotiations with China over a proposed pact aimed at preventing conflicts in the disputed South China Sea in their annual retreat today in Indonesia's capital. China and the ASEAN member states, which include 4 rival claimants to territories in the South China Sea, have been holding sporadic talks for years on a code of conduct, a set of regional norms and rules aimed at preventing a clash in the disputed waters. Good evening, I'm Abhyuday Shrestha and these are the headlines of the hour. Agricultural goods worth 400 billion rupees imported in Nepal as farmers do not get fair prices for their produces. Farmers and consumers most affected by 5 tiers of middlemen. No discussions held within the ruling coalition on the ultimatum given by Rashtriya Swatantra Party. Prime Minister Dahal and CPN-UML Chair Oli remain in their own stances. Indonesia plans to intensify talks with China and other Southeast Asian countries to finalize a code of conduct for the disputed South China Sea. And Western countries express concern over IOC's effort to include the participation of Russian and Belarusian athletes in Paris Olympics. 40 countries warn of boycotting the Games. Agricultural goods worth 400 billion rupees is imported in Nepal, which is an agricultural country. Farmers have been compelled to protest amid lack of market for the homegrown agricultural produces. Those involved in the agriculture sector have become disheartened, while consumers have also become agitated. The government has been criticized from all quarters after the farmers of Chitwan protested by throwing their produces on the streets against lack of fair price and market for their agricultural produces. The cost of production of vegetables like tomatoes and pumpkins is around 15 to 20 rupees per kilogram. However, the farmers have not been able to sell these vegetables at a meager price of 5 rupees per kilogram. It has been more than 2 decades since the government announced to make the country self-reliant on agro products and make the farmers prosperous. The government, however, has failed to provide proper cold stores and ensure market management. The state mechanism has remained indifferent towards the plight of the farmers despite repeated demonstrations by the farmers. While farmers of Chitwan have become agitated amid lack of fair prices for their produce, consumers in Kathmandu have been reeling under skyrocketing prices of agro products. Tomatoes and pumpkins that have failed to be sold at 5 rupees per kilogram in Chitwan costs 55 to 60 rupees per kilogram in Kathmandu. The farmers and consumers have been the most affected by the 5 tiers of middlemen in the agro business. Meanwhile, the 3 tiers of the government has failed to monitor illegal imports of agro products from India at a time when homegrown produces are not getting the market. The government has also remained indifferent in providing grants to the farmers. According to the Department of Agriculture, the cost of production in Nepal compared to India is 40 to 60% higher. There is a general call on the authorities to make efforts to minimize the cost of production and ensure market for the produces to address the plight of the farmers. In our Public Voice segment today, we have asked people in several provinces regarding ways to increase production of agricultural goods and ensure market for them. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
Public Voice.
किसान र बजारमा जुन ग्राहक हुन्छ नि त्यसको तालमेल चाहिँ डाइरेक्ट गराउन सके भने
बजारीकरणको लागि चाहिँ राज्यले एउटा नीति बनाउनु पर्यो
किसानको लागि सरकारले राम्रोसँग हेरविचार गर्यो
सरकारले नै एउटा निगरानी राख्नु पर्यो
सरकारी केन्द्र खोलिदिएपछि झन् हामीलाई सजिलो हुन्छ
स्थानीय तहले त्यसको चाहिँ अब सहजीकरण गर्नु पर्यो बजारमा लानको लागि
उत्पादन भएको सामानहरु चाहिँ बजारसम्म चाहिँ पुग्नु पर्यो
सरकारले ठाउँ ठाउँमा संकलन केन्द्र खोलिदिने
मूल्य चाहिँ तोकिदिनु पर्छ सरकारले र सबै जिम्मेवारी सरकारले लिनु पर्छ
दक्षिण भेगबाट आउने तरकारीलाई रोक्न सक्यो भने
उपभोक्ता पनि मारमा छौ
Rashtriya Swatantra Party's 2-day ultimatum to quit the government if the party is not handed the Home Ministry ends today. However, neither has Prime Minister Pushpakamal Dahal given back the post of Home Minister to Rashtriya Swatantra Party chairperson Rabi Lamichhane, nor has the party been able to take a decision to quit the government. The meeting of Rashtriya Swatantra Party held last Thursday had decided not to immediately quit the government and wait for 2 days to reach a decision. The meeting also demanded for the meeting of the high-level political mechanism. However, the meeting of the high-level political mechanism has not been called yet, even after the lapse of the two-day ultimatum given by Rashtriya Swatantra Party. Although top leaders of CPN-UML and CPN-Maoist Center held unofficial discussions on the issue, a formal meeting has not been called to discuss the issue, due to which leaders of Rashtriya Swatantra Party have become furious and have again warned of leaving the government. CPN-UML chairperson KP Sharma Oli, who is also the chair of the high-level political mechanism of the ruling coalition, met Prime Minister Pushpa Kamal Dahal at his official residence in Balwatar this morning and discussed on the issue of the Home Minister. After the discussion with Oli, Prime Minister Dahal, after attending CPN-Maoist Center's Standing Committee meeting later in the day, reiterated that he would reach an agreement with Rashtriya Swatantra Party soon. A meeting of the high-level political mechanism needs to be held to discuss on the demands of Rashtriya Swatantra Party. However, due to the disputes between Premier Dahal and chairperson of the high-level political mechanism Oli to address the demands of Rashtriya Swatantra Party, the meeting has not been able to take place. If one of these two leaders do not attend the high-level political mechanism meeting, it cannot be held. Still, CPN-Maoist Center claims that the ruling coalition would not be broken. CPN-UML chairperson Oli has been continuously piling pressure on Premier Dahal to hand the Home Ministry to Rashtriya Swatantra Party. However, the Prime Minister has not shown any interest in doing so. Due to the stances taken by Prime Minister Dahal and CPN-UML chair Oli on the issue of the Home Ministry, doubts have been raised on whether the ruling coalition will break. Meanwhile, an emergency meeting of Rashtriya Swatantra Party is underway at the moment at its party office in Basundhara, saying that its two-day ultimatum had been ignored. It has been learnt that Prime Minister Pushpa Kamal Dahal has proposed to give Rashtriya Swatantra Party the Ministry of Fiscal Infrastructure and Transport in place of the Ministry of Home Affairs, and discussions are ongoing whether to accept Dahal's proposal. It's time now for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
But before that, let's take a look at the results from yesterday's poll. Yesterday, we had asked you, what should be done to promote domestic agro products? 14% voted for A, grant to farmers, 24% voted for B, curb import, and 62% voted for C, guarantee market. And here's today's question. What's your take on the trend of political parties not taking decisions on issues of national importance and giving the responsibility to the party's top leaders? Your options are A, mockery of internal democracy, B, lack of decision-making capacity, and C, trust in leadership. The voting is on. Type in EWS, select your option A, B, or C, and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. Prime Minister Pushpa Kamal Dahal has said that the constrained politics among the political parties will likely invite political crisis in the country. Inaugurating the program organized on the occasion of the Second General Assembly of the Indigenous Nationalities Commission in Kathmandu earlier today, Prime Minister Dahal said that there is no alternative to national security and promoting national unity to ensure the rights of the general public. Premier Dahal says the nation must unite to solve the problem of economic and political crisis. Prime Minister Dahal said that a lot has to be done to ensure proportionate inclusivity of the indigenous nationalities and more than 50% women participation. Chairperson of the Indigenous Nationalities Commission, Ram Bahadur Thapa Magar, drew the attention of the state authorities towards lack of inclusivity, as 45 out of 60 ethnic groups have not reached in the policy-making level. Currently, there are 80 lawmakers in the House of Representatives that belong to the indigenous group, which is merely 30%. CPN Unified Socialist Chairperson Madhav Kumar Nepal has expressed doubt that the seven-party ruling coalition will last until the presidential election. While speaking at the party's Central Committee meeting that has begun from today, Chair Nepal claimed that the ruling coalition partners have become polarized and that the alliance could break any moment. Nepal says that CPN-UML Chair KP Sharma Oli will only endure Prime Minister Dahal until the presidential election. Chair Nepal has included 4 reasons for the split of the 5-party alliance led by Nepali Congress President Sherbahadur Deuba in his political report. Nepal has termed increasing pride in Nepali Congress, lack of proper information to Deuba, ploy by Oli and power politics as the reasons for the split of the 5-party alliance. The Central Committee meeting of CPN Unified Socialist will continue until tomorrow. Kantipur Media Group organized a debate titled Lumbini Ko Samartha today with a view to mainly aid in development of Lumbini, also known as the birthplace of Buddha. Various advices were given and pledges were made during the debate held today. The program was held to hold discussions regarding socio-economic power, prospect, problems of Lumbini province that has 12 districts and ways to address them. While speaking during the inauguration of the program organized in Asian Buddha Hotel in Bhairawa, today's main speaker, Deputy Chief of Lumbini Development Board, Avdesh Kumar Tripathi Monk Meteya, said that Lumbini must be transformed into an international Buddhist heritage. Likewise, another main speaker, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for Finance, Vishnu Prasad Paudel, pledged to prevent lack of budget for the implementation of the Lumbini Master Plan. Managing Director of Kantipur Media Group, Kailash Shiroya, expressed confidence that political stability will be maintained and the condition of the province will improve. Indonesia plans to intensify talks with China and other Southeast Asian countries to finalize a code of conduct for the disputed South China Sea, its foreign minister said today amid escalating tensions in the strategic waterway. Foreign Minister Retno Marsudi was speaking in Jakarta at the close of a meeting between foreign ministers from the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, ASEAN, the 10-member regional bloc chaired by Indonesia this year. Negotiations on the Code of Conduct, a proposed framework to help tackle territorial and maritime disputes in the waterway, have stalled for years as some member states prioritized bilateral ties with China over a regional consensus. Indonesia is preparing to host a round of negotiations on the Code of Conduct this year, the first taking place in March, the foreign minister said. China claims jurisdiction over almost the entire South China Sea based on its U-shaped 9-dash line, a boundary found to have no legal basis by the Permanent Court of Arbitration in The Hague in 2016. Earlier this week, the Philippines granted the United States greater access to its military bases in part due to Beijing's extensive claims in the resource-rich maritime area. ASEAN members, the Philippines, Vietnam, Malaysia, and Brunei all have overlapping claims with China in the strategic waterway. Indonesia is not an official claimant, but has faced pushback from China over its exploration of oil and gas reserves in the North Natuna Sea. Separately, ASEAN members wrapped up talks, having only reiterated support for the bloc's 5-point peace plan on Myanmar, which includes the cessation of conflict in the conflict-torn nation and the start of dialogue. It's time now for the sports news.
Sports news.
Poland's Sport and Tourism Minister Kamil Bortnik-Zuk has said 40 countries could boycott 2024 Paris Olympic Games, making the whole event pointless. And it's time now for the weather update. That's all for the moment. Thank you for watching. Good night.